Okay, welcome to the channel and welcome to another game of 40k. It is 2000 points of Necrons versus Chaos. Okay, today we are playing in a ruined city. Looks like there's been some Imperial action here at the side. This planet has undergone recently a demonic invasion and left behind after the battles that were fought here have been some demonic relics. You can see one in the middle here, a tome of some sort. Over here, the Blood Crusher's head severed and left by the demons. And over this side, a trophy of sorts. Bloodletter's head has been skewered and left bleeding, somewhat rudely, leaving his tongue poking out. And finally over this side, a minion left behind, abandoned by his masters. It's these objectives the Chaos have come to claim today. If they are successful, they'll be able to extract these objectives, take them back to their overlords for inspection, because God only knows what sort of demonic powers could be extracted from them, but whatever they find from them will benefit them in their campaign as they move through the system. For the Necrons, however, Mahim has awakened finally after millions of years of sleep. He has decided to wage war in the system where his tomb world resides, but he needs the help of Trazyn the Infinite. And in order to get Trazyn's help, he's going to use these relics as bartering tools. Trazyn the Infinite is a collector of sorts, of arcane and Xenos artifacts, human artifacts, and he would love to get his hands on some of these. So Mahim will come into this sector and he will try to extract these objectives for himself. So as for the scenario, we are making a custom scenario. We rolled for random deployment and the deployment is hammer and anvil. So deploying on the short edges and 24 inches in between, be no man's land. The center objective will be a 6-point objective, and these other 3 objectives will be D3 objective points each. So the scene is set and Steve is here to show us his Chaos Marines. Really nicely painted Marines, and very excited to get them on the field. Also with the Necrons, it's only my second battle on the channel with them, but this time at 2,000 points instead of the 1,600 points. So let's take a look at the armies and let's see what each of us have bought today, and we'll get stuck into the game. Right, here is 2,000 points of Necrons, just slightly under. Leading today is Mahim himself, has finally arrived from his million years of slumber to lead the force today. He is an overlord and he has a war scythe. To his left, his master cryptech Izek will be the second HQ choice today, armed standard loadout for cryptechs. Okay, in the troops section we have 10 immortals armed with gauze blasters. In the other troop section we have 28 warriors. I'm going to be running these as one squad of 10 and one squad of 18, simply due to the points restriction. Okay, in the elites section we have 10 Praetorians. They are armed with particle casters and hyperphase swords. In the other elites we have one Triarch Stalker. He is armed with twin Gorse cannons. In the fast attack section we have 3 Wraiths, no upgrades. Heavy support, there is a Monolith. And in the flyer section we have a Doom Scythe. So that is 2,000 points of Necrons that'll be fighting against Chaos today. Let's have a look at Steve's Chaos and see what we're up against.
This is my 2,000 point Chaos Space Marine army. They are called the Tormentors and they use the Night Lord's Legion trait. Leading the army, we have the HQ choice. We have a Lord. He's the one in power armor. He has a power axe and a combi flamer. We have a Sorcerer in Terminator armor. He has a combi bolter and a force axe. We have a squad of Chaos Space Marines with just a flamer. Have a squad of Scum Chaos Cultists with no upgrades. They're just holding auto guns or close combat weapons. Another squad of Chaos Space Marines, this time they're armed with close combat weapons, and the champion has a power sword and plasma pistol. One of the Hellbrutes, he's armed with a Reaper autocannon, power fist and heavy flamer. Another Hellbrute armed with Reaper autocannon and power scourge. A squad of Chaos Terminators, they're armed with 2 combi plasmas, assortment of power weapons. Chaos Land Raider armed with a Havoc launcher, heavy bolters and las cannons. Squad of Chaos Havocs, they have 3 missile launchers. A squad of Chaos Spawn, a Chaos Predator with 4 las cannons. And finally, a Chaos Rhino with a Havoc launcher.
Right, so that's 2,000 points of chaos. Debut for this army on the channel. Nice theme to them, and should fit well on this terrain today. Okay, so deployment is complete for both sides. We have hammer and anvil deployment, so 24 inches between the two on the length of the table. So the chaos over on this side in the industrial sector, deployed mostly up over this side. So Lord and a combat squad in the Land Raider there, a couple of Hellbrutes and Cultists there. The Havocs are in the middle, along with the, I was about to call them Wraiths, but they are Spawn, right. And Predator with the las cannons over the flank here. So objectives are here, little one here, and center, and there is another one just there. And for the Necrons over this side, heavily reacting to Steve's deployment over here. So we've got a lot of infantry. We've got a big squad of the 18 warriors, the Immortals, the Praetorians. Mahim is in there, and the Cryptek as well. We've got the Stalker, the Flyer, Wraiths ready to pounce just behind the building there, and another squad of warriors here. So none of the objectives have been revealed yet. We do know the center one is worth 6 points, and the other objectives are D3 each. So Steve finished deploying first, so Steve will get +1 to have first turn. So I'm just grabbing a dice. Okay, let's roll off. Oh, the tension. Okay. So even with the +1, I do win there. You do get a chance to seize the initiative though. Would you like to do so, sir? It's a 3, no. Okay, so Necrons will go first. Warlord trait for Mahim is Tenacious Survivor, so that's 6s to ignore wounds, or damage should I say, coming through. Warlord trait for the Chaos is?
Lord of Terror, causes leadership checks on 3d6.
Woo! Nasty.
Not good against Necrons though.
Yeah, well, it's good enough. I mean, leadership 10 on Necrons, you need that extra d6 to cause some damage in leadership tests. But we'll go on to first turn for the Necrons. It's going to be an interesting fight, pretty hard on both sides. We're both pretty tough, pretty survivable, but I think there's going to be a big clash in the middle with a few units here. very shortly. So let's go on to the first turn, Necrons. Right, so movement for Necrons is done. Stayed stationary here with the Triax Stalker. He's got a line up to the Land Raider there. Monolith has descent from the sky and popped himself about 12 to 18 inches away from the Raider there, and has some range to the Predator as well. Doomscythe moved up along with the Wraiths and Warriors. Warriors did run a bit forward. This objective here has been located and identified by them, and it is 3 points worth. So I'll just leave that next to it. Okay, use the relic to move the Warriors and mar him up to 9 inches from the Predator here. A little bit of an assault going on this side, see if we can take out the las cannon abilities over here. The Praetorians did move up their full inches into the ruin there. Across this side, Cryptek Izek leading the charge with his squad of Immortals over here. Apart from that, that is it. There's no psychic phase, obviously, for Necrons. We're going to go into shooting now, see if we can take out a couple of these vehicles, because there's a lot of las cannons there. There's 4 on the Predator and 4 on the Raider, and there's also the Havocs that have missile launchers as well. So got to deal with some of that before we can move forward. Okay, so shooting phase for the Necrons is done. Very, very good phase so far. Okay, so the Warriors opened proceedings over here against here. Didn't do too much. I think we only caused 2 or 3 wounds from that squad. The Triax Stalker then fired at the Land Raider and took off at least 6 wounds or more, with some successful hits and wounds. And the -4 on the AP took the 2+ armor save down quite a bit, so 6 up saves on the Land Raider. You can see he's lost a few more wounds as well. That was fire from the Doomsday Arc and the Doomscythe and the Monolith as well. Both fired through with their main guns there. Their secondary weapons, when it went against this Predator here, managed to knock off a couple more wounds, so that's halfway down on his health as well. In other news, there was 3 wounds taken off this Hellbrute here. That was fire from the Immortals just coming down there. They were hitting on 2s due to the Warlord giving them +1 at the start of the phase. Okay, so that means the Land Raider is down to just 3 wounds left, which is pretty damn good considering its toughness and its armor. So we're going to head on to the Chaos turn 1. There's no assaults in this phase. I don't think that's too wise at this stage. So we'll go on to Chaos turn 1. Right, movement for Chaos turn 1 has been completed. A bit of a cluster here of troops moving out of their transports. Unfortunately for Steve, the Land Raider only moved 3 inches due to its damage level. The units got out and the Lord, I believe, is back here. Yes, there he is. Hellbrutes moved forward. Cultists pushing up as well. Interestingly, a RHINO empty has moved up forward. I assume looking to run into some of the troops back there. Havoc stayed still. The Spawn have moved up as well. They're heading towards the Marhim and his unit across there. They've got a bit of a charge, I think about 8 inches maybe, to get in there. Also, no movement here for the Predator as well. Terminators and the Librarian Terminator have... Sorcerer. Sorry, I've got the Space Marine lingo going on. The Sorcerer has deep struck here with his Terminators, and it looks like they're looking to get into some trouble with these Immortals here, and nice cover from the Stalker over there as well. So nice placement there. We'll go on to psychic phase. What are you going to do this turn? Okay, so warp time.
Yeah.
On the Terminators.
Time is value of 6.
Needing 6. Got it. 7. Nice. Okay, so they get an extra movement phase, which is quite nice.
We'll do that right now.
All right, so warp time has been done. They've moved forward a little bit there. Just the Terminators. The Sorcerer has stayed a little bit back. He can't use that power on himself. Okay, so warp time has been cast. That is the end of the psychic phase. We'll go into shooting now for chaos. There are obviously a lot of las cannons here, but we did manage to damage these vehicles, so they'll be struggling to hit, but we'll see how effective they become. All right, so the shooting phase for chaos turn 1 is over. Not too bad, could have been a little better. Let's see what happened. We lost 1 immortal. That was fire from various units, I think. So the RHINO, these cultists, and the Terminators all put in a bit of fun into those. These units, most of these units here fight up into the Praetorians there. I lost 1, and 1 is on 1 wound. The Monolith took some fire. That was fire from the Chaos Predator, and also the Havocs here. The Land Raider did try and fire, but because he moved, he's sitting on 6s. So that wasn't too good. Apart from that, no one else took fire. No fire into the unit over there. I think these spawn are actually lining up to a charge there. But that was it. So we're going on to assaults. So still a bit to go. And I think there's a couple that are going to happen just over here as well. Potentially there is a chance to charge up to those guys, I think, in the building. We'll have to measure that, but it'll be a long one. Okay, so Chaos turn 1, we're going to go on to assaults and see how we go. Right, so Chaos assault phase turned out to be good and bad. So over here, not so good. The Terminators, apart from killing the Cryptek, which was first blood scored, they only managed to take off 1 of the Immortals, and that was coming from the Cultists, who actually had a 12-inch charge pulled off amazingly. So yeah, those guys are very keen to fight. So not so good there. I managed to do no damage also back to the Terminators. And over this side, very, very good from the spawn here. They killed. Call them ghosts. Yep. They are. So they came in and did an amazing roll of attack, sitting on 4s, and Steve did pretty amazing there. So I lost 11 warriors in that fight, and I took 1 wound off one of them there as well. So leadership is interesting. So their presence in front of me actually is -2 leadership, which puts me down to 8. I lost 11. So whatever I roll here, the minimum that I'll lose is 4 Necrons. So I'm just going to do my leadership now. I'm hoping it's a 1. It's a 1. Okay, good. So I lose 4. So at least allows me to do some reanimation protocols in the coming turn, get some of those back hopefully, and we'll see how we go. I do have a resurrection orb as well on the Warlord Mahim, so we might use that in the coming turn. But anyway, that is assault phase complete, and that is the end of turn 1. So very brutal. We'll see how we go in turn 2. Necrons coming up. Right, so movement phase for Necrons just before we get started. Living metal, 1 wound returned to the monolith there. Also reanimation protocols. I got both of the lost immortals back in this squad, which is awesome. But even more awesome was getting 11 of the warriors back. I used the Mahim's resurrection orb to re-roll reanimation protocols, and I got 11 warriors back, and they've moved out of combat just over here to this objective, which is just 1 point. Okay. The wraiths moved across this terrain here, and Mahim has moved back a little bit as well, looking to charge up into there. These warriors have moved forward just slightly to get a range onto these ghosts, and the flyer did move its minimum 20 into the middle of the battlefield there. In other news, we're avoiding this mob here, and the Praetorians jumped from the building down to here to try and get the sorcerer over this side of the table. They do have some strength 6 pistols, so we'll be able to knock a few wounds off and then definitely do well in combat as well. I decided to stay in combat with the immortals simply because I think they're going to be hard to kill, and I think just holding on to those units as I deal with the rest of the table, it keeps them away from fire as well. So no movement for the Stalker, who's still got a line down to these units here. We will go on to Necrons shooting. A lot of shooting again to come up. Nothing is below a bracket yet, so we'll be shooting at full ballistic skill, which is nice. Okay, Necrons shooting, turn 2. Alright, shooting phase over for the Necrons, turn 2. Went pretty well. Most of the fire pouring into the ghosts down here, managed to reduce them by 4, down to 1 model, which has 3 wounds left, I think. Okay, so that was fire from the Necron warriors here. The entire monolith fire, some of the fire, the Tesla weapons fired down. The main cannon did fire down at this, did 3 wounds to the tank there. I opened proceedings with this. The Stalker fired through to a Hellbrute who was here, totally wiped him off the table. So that was a good start. Shooting over here with the Praetorians, I didn't do any damage to the sorcerer there. So totally ignored all these units in the table, on the middle of the table here. We'll concentrate on them later. Over to assaults. There's obviously an ongoing assault here. We're going to charge in with the Praetorians, and the wraiths over here are going to charge into that remaining ghost there, and possibly Mahim might get in on the action as well. Right, assault phase for the Necrons is done. Foregone conclusion over here, the sorcerer was destroyed utterly in combat by the hyperphase swords of the Praetorians there. Over here, we killed 3 cultists in combat, and we lost 3 immortals to the Terminators there, so a bit even. Over here, another foregone conclusion, the Wraiths and Mahim took out that last spawn and have moved up towards the Predator there. So a good turn for the Necrons, I think. A lot of powerful units destroyed, and we've tied one up over here as well. So we'll go on to Chaos turn 2. This dangerous mob in the middle, I'm wondering what the hell Steve's going to do with them. Keeping in mind we do have objectives, and they are up for grabs at this stage. So early stage of the battle, let's go on to Chaos turn 2. Okay, movement for Chaos. So it looks like this threat needs to be taken care of. The Hellbrute and the Close Combat Squad has moved up along with the Lord to try and give support to these units. Just as an addendum to the end of last turn, we did morale for these 2 squads. The Immortals were fine, but the Cultists lost 2 more from running off. The Land Raider advanced the 3 inches that it's allowed to move. There was another squad of Marines here, They hopped in the RHINO and smashed through the ruins there. I'm not sure what's going on with that unit. Havoc stayed still, and the Predator over there with the las cannons stayed still also. That was movement for Chaos. Not a hell of a lot, but I'm sure they've got a plan up their sleeve. Chaos shooting done, and pretty damn effective. One Praetorian was taking off here, and that was fire from the Hellbrute here. This squad wasn't in range for anything. They did not fire. Good effective fire on the Monolith. It's now got 2 wounds left. That was fire from the las cannons on both tanks, and also the rocket launchers from the Havocs. Other than that, I don't think there was any other damage. But now that is down to the final bracket, and we'll be hitting and moving poorly. So we're going to go on to assaults here. I think this squad may be in range for a charge. Do you want to have a look?
You can do it right now if you like, because there's no Overwatch. That can have a go.
Yep.
And they can have a go too.
So you got 8.
So you need an 8 to get within 1 inch. And this one's a bit harder. We need a 10 to get within 1 inch.
Okay, go for it.
Hellbrute, come on. Desperate. Hey!
He's in. Yep, absolutely, he's in. Okay, next squad.
8 inch.
Yep.
8 inch. Oh, we've got the Lord too. He has to have a go.
Yep, he can go.
We'll
Probably do him first. He may not be able to get in afterwards.
He needs, I think that's 11.
Yeah, that's 11.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go 11, so fucking not gonna happen.
Okay.
I say it doesn't happen,
See that?
it happens.
6 and a 5. That's 11. He's straight in. See if he can hat trick this with a large charge from these warriors. Warriors?
Chaos
Space
Marines.
Marines.
Just Chaos Marines.
Space Marines.
8 inch charge? Is that right? Yeah, it's right.
Yep, to get within 1 inch.
Come on, lucky streak. 9!
Oh, 9. What? Wow,
Swings
okay.
and roundabouts.
These Immortals are absolutely doomed, and their leadership is going to go right down.
You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative.
-5 leadership because of the Night Lord's rule. -1 leadership for every squad.
Correct.
Nasty. Okay, we'll get that sorted out off camera, because there's a lot of crap going on there. Right, so assaults went off as planned for Steve. The Immortals were completely destroyed. I think that was before all the Terminators got to fight as well. So they've consolidated a bit. The Terminators did not consolidate. It would have put them in within 1 inch of these guys, and they would have been able to fight. So most of the units have moved forward. We'll go on to Necron turn 3. It's time to start looking at objectives and seeing what we can hold for endgame. Anyway, on to Necrons turn 3. Right, so movement for the Necrons. This squad has abandoned this objective here. They're actually going to start moving towards the 6th objective. I don't think this monolith is going to last too much longer. We'll see. There may not be any Havocs left at the end of this turn. The race have moved up, and Mahim has moved up to take on the last wounds of the Predator. Both these units of warriors will be able to fire at the Land Raider. It's only got 2 wounds left, remember. So we may be able to shave those wounds off with some lucky rolls. Just spinning on the spot with the Stalker. That'll be firing up at the Hellbrute over there. And of course the movement for the Flyer has come across. It's going to lay some fire down into the Chaos units over that side of the table. Yeah, so starting to look at objectives. These guys move back towards the objective here. It's worth 3 points. This one's only worth 1 point, so that's why we're moving away from that towards the one that's worth 6 points. Obviously this one is no one's on that at the moment, so let's do shooting. The monolith's now only hitting on 5s. It's down to only, what, 3 living wounds left. So Hitting Fire is moving 4 inches maximum. So we'll see how effective he can be. Other than that, no one's damaged. Reanimation protocols actually came through, and just one of these warriors came back this turn. Okay, so going on to shooting phase for the Necrons turn 3. Let's start cleaning up some Chaos models. Okay, so shooting came through for the Necrons very poor. The only success was 4 damage coming from the Stalker into the Hellbrute there. I managed nothing against the Land Raider, and that was both squads of warriors, and also fire from the the monolith fired down at the Predator that was here and destroyed it. There was only 2 wounds left anyway. That leaves my Warlord with nothing to do. Over here, pretty poor as well. I tried to get some shots off down at the Hellbrute with the flyer there. I did not manage to wound. I only got 1 shot through in the end. And the secondary weapons did nothing to his Marines down there as well. So not really effective. I think I got rid of a Predator. That's good enough. And assaults are coming up, and I've got a couple lined up, which is good. So go into assaults for the Necrons and see what kind of damage we can do. The Praetorians are lined up pretty well for an assault there. They're pretty good in combat, so we should be able to kill something. Okay, so the combat here went really poorly for the Necrons. We only managed to take 1 Terminator out of action and then put a wound on another. Rolled really poorly, probably less than half of hitting and less than half of wounding. So yeah, really poor there. He struck back and killed, actually they killed one in Overwatch with plasma, and then more Praetorians. I think 3 more were destroyed by the Terminators in combat. Over here, again, very poor. The Wraiths rolling really poorly. They only killed 1 Marine. No damage was done in return, so that combat continues. So that is the end of Necron turn 3. Looking forward to seeing what the Chaos can do now. A little bit on the back foot. So the only units they have now is the Land Raider, which is on 1 wound or 2 wounds left. These units over here. The Lord is right there, and inside is a squad inside the RHINO. So still a lot of units there, but he's got to start thinking about objectives here. I'm sure we've seen the last of the Praetorians. They won't last another turn. Okay, we'll go on to Chaos turn 3 and find out what they're made of. Right, movement for turn 3, Chaos Space Marines. The poor Necron shooting an assault last turn has given Steve a chance to advance on the Necrons unscathed. A squad in here of Marines disembarked from the bottom and moved to the top. They've got a nice firing line down to this Stalker. The Rhinos burst through the ruins, and it looks like it's going to try and ram the Stalker this turn, interestingly. Over here, the Praetorians have been surrounded. Funny that. So that looks like this may be the last turn on the table. The Land Raider did move up towards the center objective. So it's now 1 model each on that objective. So contested. No other movement over this side of the table. as everything's locked up in combat. So, shooting phase, I don't think there's a lot for the Space Marines this turn, sorry, the Chaos Marines this turn. The Land Raider is free to fire, of course, but the other units may be unable to do much this turn. Okay, Space Marines shooting turn 3. Okie dokie, shooting for the Chaos Marines is done. A lot of little bits and pieces coming through to this Stalker here. He's trying to get this thing out of the picture. That's fire coming down from these bolters. I think also the Hellbrute back there fired through. The RHINO here as well, and I think the secondary weapons from the Land Raider also came through. On all of that, 3 wounds just came off there. Not too bad, I get one of those back in my turn, so that's sweet. I think, however, he's going to assault into the Stalker to silence it for the next turn, so that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, Monolith is unfortunately gone. The last 4 wounds were taken off by a lucky hit from the Land Raider there, who was hitting on 5s and managed to get one of them through. So, yep, Monolith is gone. He now holds that objective. So we're going to have to think about moving up to collect that one. And we're just about to go into assault phase. We've got multiple units that are going to charge into the Praetorians there, and obviously those that are already in combat. Okay, so turn 4 for the Necrons is complete. We did all movement, shooting and assaults in the one, so that you can see here. Okay, so movement, the Stalker did move and ran as far as it could away from the RHINO there. Couldn't shoot this turn, so did not. The Necron Warriors here and the Necron Warriors here did move up and fired at the Land Raider. Didn't hurt it until the Warriors charged into combat, managed to take the last couple of wounds off. The Land Raider did explode, and it took out 4 of the Necrons on its way out. So leadership was fine with them. They are safe to continue on. Mahim has actually moved across. He's going to go for this single objective here. He won't be the target of enemy fire, I don't think, this game, so he's safe. Combat over here, I killed 2 more of the Havocs. They did no damage in return. In fact, did you even fight back with them? No. Okay, we're doing that now. 2 hits. Nothing. Okay, so yep, I was right. No damage in return. Okay, shooting coming down from the Croissant. Unfortunately, only did 1 wound of damage on one of the Terminators here. Pretty poor rolling, and Steve did use the, what's the name of the stratagem? In Midnight Clad, which is -1 to hit on them, so that affected the shooting pretty poorly for the Croissant. The Doom side. So going on to turn 4 for Chaos. We'll do all 3 phases and get back to you at the end of it. Looking pretty even at this stage. We're both very much dwindling on the table, and it is late game. We will start to see these armies fall apart. Okay, Chaos turn is over. Not too much happened, just a lot of shooting. So a lot of the the units moved through into the ruins here, including the Hellbrute, who's actually on the 1st floor, but for ease we've put him on the 2nd floor. Okay, so Terminators and the full squad there. The Lord and another squad have got inside the RHINO there and moved around. They all shot through, all the fire came into this warrior squad and killed 7 of them. Morale was passed on them, so I'll be able to get reanimation protocols off on them next turn. And over here, no damage on the Wraiths, but the Wraiths did kill 1 Marine. So unfortunately, they're still stuck in combat. Well, not stuck, but they haven't killed that unit. So we'll go on to Necron's turn 5. Hard to say what's going to happen this turn. There is a lot of Marines up here. So a lot to deal with. That flyer and this stalker need to do a lot of work to clean up this table. Hopefully we get a good roll off on the RHINO motions. Otherwise, let's get on with it. Turn 5 for Necrons. Alrighty, so Necrons turn 5. Shooting is done. Sorry, that was the whole turn done. So the Triax Stalker moved around to gain line of sight into the ruins here, and did actually successfully destroy the Hellbrute that was in there, and it blew up. One of the Terminators was destroyed, 2 of the Marines were destroyed, and how much damage on the... 2 damage on the RHINO. So that was a good explosion in the ruin there. Across here, the scythe actually shot down at the Terminators and killed 2 of them. The remaining one was then killed by fire from this squad here. This squad also fired into the Terminators, did no damage, thanks to his 2-up saves. But across here, one was rolled after a cocked dice, which is funny to see. Over here, the combat was completed, and finally we killed that last Havoc and have consolidated with the WRAITHS towards the closest units there. So, yep, pretty good turn for the Necrons. It is turn 5, so this could be the last turn, hopefully not, because I'm not really in a good position to be holding objectives at this stage. So, we'll go on to Chaos, turn 5. Turn 5 over for Chaos. Little bit of movement here and there. So this squad, now 1 or 2 less than they were before, have moved up to claim the center objective. RHINO did move forward, shot, and then assaulted into the warriors there. Only managed to take out 1 in the shooting. No damage from either side in combat. Shooting did come from this squad into the warriors with no damage coming through. And that was all for the Chaos turn. But we do come to the stage where we have to roll to see if the game ends. So on a 1 or a 2, it looks like Chaos victory.
Let's do another
off the
one,
table. Do another one. 4. Fantastic. Another turn. All right. So Necrons turn 6. We need to take these objectives. It is late game. There's still a full squad of Marines inside here as well. Not good. So let's see what we can do. Okie dokie, Necrons turn 6 is now complete. These warriors moved out of combat with the RHINO, headed towards the objective in the center. They ran, they didn't shoot obviously, they just pulled out of combat. The race did however move up and got into combat with the Chaos Marines just there. Killed a few of them in combat, 5 of them I believe. A couple with shooting also from the warriors that moved up over there. But they passed morale. There is now 3 Marines left in that squad and the Lord right there. 1 damage only done to the RHINO. Unfortunately, that was fire from the Doom Scythe. A Stalker did fire through and tried also to take out the RHINO. Failed on a 1 to penetrate. Okay, so we're going to go on to Chaos turn 6. Again, he's set up pretty well to take the center objective if he can get more models around that than I. So we'll see how he goes. All right, Chaos turn 6 has been complete. The RHINO unloaded its payload over there and moved down towards the Warlord. Did assault into combat, did no damage, but the Warlord marked him back and caused 4 damage. So the RHINO is a little bit slower now. The warrior squad on the center was unfortunately destroyed by the Lord and the combat squad that came out of the transport this turn. And the other 3 Marines only lost 1 in this Nope, in that squad. So I fought back with the Wraiths, who lost one of their own, in fact, and that was assaulting from these 3 guys here. Apart from that, we are about to go and see if the game ends. On a 4+, it continues. Steve. It continues. Oh God. No. This is going to be interesting because these 3 units, all of the Chaos units, are locked in combat. So I will not be able to shoot at any of them this turn. Okay, it's going to be interesting. All right, let's go on to turn 7, final turn for Necrons. All right, so it's not looking good for the Necrons. We got into combat. It was a tough decision whether or not to stay on these objectives and take out that objective there, or whether to pile into the middle and try and take out the Marines. I decided no guts, no glory, went into the center, but it hasn't paid off. I failed the charge with the Stalker. The Warriors did get in from the ruins. However, I did not manage to kill as many Marines as I thought I would. So I actually ended up losing 5 Warriors from the combat. So not so good, and I only killed a couple of Marines. So it's looking pretty bad. It is turn 7, and it's Chaos's turn now, which is pretty much just pure combats. But yeah, it's not looking good. I killed the cultist on that objective there, so that's cleared that one up. Okay, so the game is over. Turn 7 is complete, and Chaos have emerged victorious. Over here, the 2 units of Chaos Warriors did punch through and managed to wipe out the Warriors. So all 10 were destroyed. That was a combination from the Lord and close combat attacks. I did kill a couple with the Wraiths, but that was it. And over here, the RHINO pulled out of combat, so he didn't have to face my Lord again. Took that objective, 6 points for the center objective, and this squad of Warriors pulled out of combat, ran 12 inches, and captured that objective for 2 points. So Necrons have been absolutely thrashed at the end game here. It was a tough fight on both sides. Really, really cool game. A few things learnt. First proper game with the Necrons, a full 2,000 points. So a lot of fun, and good victory for Steve. It was very, very hard fought for him, and right at the end has taken it. So very good game. Really enjoyed this one. The Chaos will now take these objectives, these relics, back to their demonic overlords and present them for inspection. God knows what kind of arcane powers they'll extract from them. But we'll see this army again, I'm sure, very soon. Maybe on a different battlefield against a different army, but it's been a pleasure playing against them. Thank you very much, Steve, for coming along and thrashing me. It was good.
I can't believe it. I'm still stunned.
Yeah.
Surely I couldn't have won after turn 1. Somehow.
Yep.
Somehow.
Yeah, it was...
blessed by the dark gods themselves.
Yeah. It swung to and fro. Many units destroyed in all turns. So, hey, look, it was good fun, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this battle as much as we did. Cheers. See you later.